Hello and welcome to the Pod of Many Things channel. My name is Leon and this is a new series that I've been putting together called What's Happening in Theros. In this series, what I want to do is kind of bring you along for the ride that I've been putting together for my players, as well as giving some commentary and insight into how and why I've made these certain decisions for the campaign, how I've put together these specific NPCs, and how I put together sessions, combat encounters, and so on and so forth, in the hopes that anybody listening to this might be able to use this as a tool for putting together their own games, because essentially D&D is all about having fun and sharing and collaborating. Now, this is episode 1, so I think the most appropriate place to start would be with a character introduction. We have 4 characters in this campaign, and with it being a Theros-based campaign, there are 2 additional things that you need to take into account when creating your character. But before we get into those, just know that Theros is limited to only 6 player races, that being Human, Leonin, Centaur, Satyr, Minotaur, and Triton. The additional things that we have to take into account when building characters for a Theros campaign are, firstly, the supernatural gift. Now, adventurers in Theros are people that have been hand-selected at birth by the gods themselves to go on and do great things one day. As a result, the gods grant them a supernatural gift, which is essentially a free feat at level 1. Now, for these, I allowed my players to just choose whichever ones they wanted from the list. Secondly, Theros comes with an excellent system. I really like one of my favorite things about this campaign, and that is the piety system. Now, what this is each character will have a deity that they follow, and based on their actions in the campaign, based on how fondly their god looks on them, they can either gain or lose piety points. And as they gain piety points, they unlock or are given additional features by their deity. And each deity is unique. You have, for example, Mogis, god of slaughter. You have Nylea, goddess of the hunt. They'll all have their own things that will appease them or piss them off. And that allows the player to really have fun and get additional benefits. Now, we will usually give benefits in the form of, loot, gold, magic items, bonus features, things like that. But I really enjoy how this thematically works in a campaign like this. But we'll get into more detail on that on a later campaign. For episode 1, let's just have a look at the characters themselves. Now, let's begin by having a look at Neoptomalus, or Neo, who is being played by Paddy. Neo is a shadow sorcerer. A shadow sorcerer satyr who hails from the Scholar Vale. That said, despite the Scholar Vale being a landlocked forest, Neo has the sailor background, so he likes to get around. He knows the world of Theros quite a lot, and he has those connections that only a sailor background person can have. Neo is a follower of Crufix, the god of horizons and mysteries and puzzles and essentially just intrigue. Really fun, having a lot of fun introducing concepts of this character in future sessions, but we'll get onto those later. And finally, his supernatural gift. He is a Nyxborn, and Nyxborn are unique to Theros. They are essentially beings who were created in the plane of Nyx, which is the plane where the gods currently live. And the way you can tell a Nyxborn is that when there's no sunlight directly hitting them, they kind of have a starry shimmer to them. Because he's a Nyxborn, he gets a Cloak of Stars action, which says, as an action, you wrap yourself in a starry cloak, appearing like a silhouette formed of the night sky. When you do, attack rolls have disadvantage against you. It lasts for 1 minute, or until you take it off, or until you die. And this can be used once per long rest. Really cool, unique feature. and so far we've had really good fun with it, or Paddy has at least. What am I saying? I've had fun with it as well. I always have fun. Anyway, that's Neoptomalus. Who's next? Next, we will have a look at Lily, short for Lilith, who is being played by my good wife, Jo. So, first and foremost, Lily is a bard, College of Eloquence, which was one of the new subclasses introduced with Theros. As for race, she is also a satyr, so yes, I do have 2 satyrs in my party. Now, let me just say this whilst we're here. I do not have an issue with the magic resistance. I know a lot of people were kind of upset about this when it was released, but I haven't found it to be hindering me in any way. I'm sure it is a huge annoyance for those people that play Adventurers League, but I'm not playing Adventurers League, so I don't give a shit. And I think if players do have these advantages, then it's just on the DM to make the encounters just that little bit more challenging for the players. That's all I'm going to say on that. As for background, she is an acolyte. She is an acolyte follower of Nylea, goddess of the hunt. And I think that's great because her supernatural gift, she is an oracle. Yes, she is an oracle. And essentially what that means is the gods will speak through her. And I think this is a fantastic tool for myself as a DM because it allows me to use that as a storytelling device. I can have Lily have dreams during the middle of the night, visions during the day. You know, she's walking down a busy city street and she sees a snake eating a mouse. Maybe she sees an omen in that. Really fun tool for a DM to play around with, and I would recommend if you're doing a Theros campaign, you should certainly try and coerce one of your players into taking the Oracle background, just simply for the fact that it is a rather useful tool. Like I said, her god is Nylea, goddess of the hunt, which is what you would expect for somebody who lives in a forest like a satyr, and her gift was Oracle. So that's Lily. Next, let's have a look at Mello. Now, Mello is a character that I put together myself. Mello's being played by Kaylee, who works shifts. It's really hard to pin down. It was the day of the game, and she hadn't really had time to make a character, so I just pulled one together for her. But we're about 8 sessions in, and she hasn't had any problems with it. Touch wood. So, Mello, spelt M-E-L-O-E, is a ranger. And I chose this because I've never had a ranger in any of my parties in all of my time as a DM. So I figured, let's put one in there and see what it's like. And thus far, I know the ranger gets a lot of slack, and this is the PHB ranger, but to be honest, I haven't really had any issues with it. And today is currently the 18th of November, and I do have a copy of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, so I may tweak this character slightly, just so it works a little bit better. But other than that, I don't really have any issues with the ranger, and I don't really see what everybody's issue is with it. But yeah, she is a ranger centaur of the Theros band of centaurs, which are typically the raiders of Theros. And as for background, she is a far traveller. And the reason I chose this, I think at the time, my thought process was that she has just left the Theros area of Theros. So far traveller makes sense. Everything's new to her. I know if you read the text to Far Traveller, it says that you are new to the people you're encountering, but, you know, mistakes are made. And you'll see throughout this series, mistakes are made quite often. She is also a follower of Nylea, goddess of the hunt. It only made sense for a Theros centaur. It just had to be Nylea. And then finally, she has her supernatural gift, which is Lifelong Companion. And I said mistakes were made. I probably made another mistake with this one. So the Lifelong Companion feature essentially allows you to use your reaction to take an attack that was destined for an enemy within 5 feet, and you can take that attack for yourself, which would make sense if you were a fighter, a paladin, a barbarian, anything with high AC or high hit points. Doesn't really make sense for a ranged ranger. But Kaylee's really enjoying this. I don't think she's ever used that feature, but she really does fall into the flavor of the lifelong companion. Her lifelong companion in game being Lily, the satyr. And I think when I put this together, I did have visions of them being lifelong companions. Get those disgusting thoughts out of your mind right now. I did have visions of the satyr riding the centaur, and them being such good friends that she would allow that. But it hasn't entirely gone that way. I've learned very quickly that centaurs, they're not horses. They don't like to be ridden. But like I said, you live and you learn. We all make mistakes, and part of this series is about showing you some of the things that I have been quite excited about, and been looking forward to using the game, but have completely fallen flat. This is one of those things. But anyway, that is Mello. And finally, that brings us to the hero of the campaign, in his own words, not mine, Leon. Yes, one of the players did name their character after myself. I don't know if I should be honoured by that, or if I should be offended by that. Either way, Leon is being played by Jenny. So Leon is male, Jenny is female, but who cares? We're all having fun. Now, Leon is a paladin who has taken the Oath of Glory. Now, if you're in Theros and you're a paladin, you have to take the Oath of Glory. It doesn't make sense for you to take any of the other paladin subclasses. Let's be honest. The unique thing about him is that he is a Leonin. Yes, Leon, who has the same name as the DM, is also named after his race. Just to add a further level of confusion to Leon. No, I haven't had any issues with it so far. It's been rather fun. The background is athlete, and when you choose that athlete background, Theros gives you some suggestions for your favoured sport, of which Leon's is the gladiatorial combat. The god he worships is Iroas, god of victory, which again is the only one that a paladin in Theros, especially a glory paladin, should be following. If you want to make an argument for another for another deity for a Oath of Glory paladin, feel free, but you will be wrong. And finally, the gift. Now, I'm currently looking at the gift, and I don't think Jenny has put a supernatural gift on her character sheet, so I'm not sure if she is aware that she has a supernatural gift or not. So I need to go back and speak to her and have her commit to a supernatural gift. That wouldn't be concerning if we weren't about 8 sessions and 1 chapter into the campaign. But anyway, like I said, we make mistakes, we live and we learn, and it's good that I have discovered this during the process of creating this video. So anyway, those are the cast members for this campaign: Mello, Neo, Lily, and Leon. And we have some fantastic stuff coming up. In the next session, we will have a look at the first encounters. We will look at the foreshadowing for the overarching campaign, and we will look at how I've introduced the piety system, the approach I've taken towards gods and encounters with the gods. So if this is your style, come back and listen to the next episode. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. Give us a share if you really did enjoy it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace.